Hello all my beautiful sisters from those other misters, and welcome back to my channel. It is time to update my use it or lose it eyeshadow project thingy that I've been doing for 500 years. And to be honest, I'm like, at the moment I'm really loving it because I feel like I'm making such good progress. I have been working on my single eyeshadow collection, and I feel like, look, I've still got a way to go, but I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel and I'm feeling good about it. So essentially what I've been doing is curating a little like working palette at the start of each month from my single eyeshadows, and I've been using them and deciding which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to get rid of. So this is what my, come on, I've got to say, these Inglot palettes with their magnetic lids are kind of fucking annoying. They're not too bad, but they can be really irritating. This is what my current working palette is looking like. Look at this shade with all of that pan. Last time I did an update, I showed you guys that I'd hit pan on it. I'll put a picture up of what it looked like when I started, and we can go through the shades. So what I've got left in here are shades that I haven't really decided if I want to keep yet or not. So I'm just going to roll those over into like the next palette. I have a selection of other palettes here. So I have a palette of things that I know I want to get rid of from what I've been testing in the recent month, and one that I want to keep from the recent month. I do have a palette of things here that I'm keeping from past months, and then I have these guys, which are palettes of stuff I haven't gone through yet. So let's start with the stuff that I've decided to keep, because it's a pretty small selection. So I'll start with this one. This is an Inglot shade in 301. I might even have this in the full size. Well, this is just working out beautifully, isn't it? I may or may not have just dropped a palette, and by may or may not, I mean I definitely did. So let's see what the damage is there. It's not great. We'll tackle it later. Okay, back to this palette. So I may have, for God's sake, really? Okay, third time's a charm. I may or may not have a full size of this somewhere in my Inglot stack. I don't know yet. If I find it, I will get rid of the big one. I'll keep a little one because I don't need gigantic pans. I have two down here. These are both from Terra Moon's Cosmetics. I've got Infrared, which is this one, and I have Meet Me on Mars, which is this one. Both of these are really cool. Like, they look like they're in the red family, red-orange family. Once they're blended out on the eye, they go quite pink. I don't know if I'm really going to reach for these a whole lot, but they are kind of fun, so I opted to hold on to them. This one here is a mini of Benefit Hoola Bronzer. I do want to turn these palettes into like full working face and eye palettes. I'm really not the type of person who's going to pull out single eyeshadow palettes, like multiple of them, to do an eye look. So I kind of need them to hold their own. They need to be really functional, and if they contain like a bronzer, highlight, and you know, enough eyeshadows to do a full eye look, I'm more likely to reach for them. So I am holding on to that one. This here is one of the Inglot eyeshadows. It is in the shade 344. It's a gorgeous like light taupey gray shade. I like to use it as a transition shade. Up here I have a Glamonatrix Cosmetics eyeshadow. This is in Egg Hunt. It's really beautiful, but the formula of these, they're just, I don't know. I feel like they're super delicate, and I know a couple have broken in that palette that just fell over, and I'm not even surprised because they are, yeah, they're just really delicate. I mean, you look at them sideways and they seem to want to break. I do have another one from Glamonatrix here. This one is Sweet Peach. The mattes are a lot more sturdy than the shimmery shades, but you know, they're still pretty, they're usable, so I'm going to hold on to them. So they're the ones from the palette that made the cut. Most of them did not, and look, let's assess the damage in here. Okay, I'm just going to show you this as it is. I'm going to tip some of this into like a bin bag because it's messy. If anything like falls out, I'm not salvaging it. So get a good look now. I don't know what this is going to look like when I bring it back to you in a few seconds. Okay, we did have a casualty. This one just fell right in the bin. I suspect this was a Glaminatrix. No, it was Terra Moons. Okay, so that one was Terrasphere. It's a nice color, but it's like a pinky duochrome. Look, I haven't made this any secret over the years. I don't really like pink eyeshadow. I love red eyeshadow, but pink doesn't really do it for me. There are some exceptions to the rule. Typically, I like some like matte pinks. I think they can make really nice blending shades when you pair them like with a brown or something like that, or if you're mixing them with browns. They can really like warm up or even cool down a look depending on the sort of shade you're using. But when it comes to shimmery shades, like I won't reach for them. So that one, that has ended up in the bin. Look, it is what it is. This was some sort of highlighter that we pressed during an episode of the Makeup Breakup. I have no idea what it is. Honestly, I don't really care. That's about to fall out. You are not falling in my lap. I will not have it. These, let's do these ones here. These are the JD Glow Multichromes, the pressed multichromes. Look, I wanted to love them, but they've got a really dark base, and I felt like they looked really kind of muddy on the eyelid. The shift of them is really nice, but I just couldn't really make these work for me. Wearing a dark shade like this over my eyelid really makes my eyes look small and beady. I don't like the way it looks. It's not flattering, and I'm not keeping makeup to not use it because I know it's not flattering for my eye shape. So these guys have got to go, even though they are very pretty. I just know I'm not going to use them. Two more that sort of fall into that vein. I've got some here from Makeup Geek. This one is Steampunk, and this one, oh my god, is Toxic, which is a purple shade. Again, these guys are they're too dark. I'm not ever going to reach for them. I will also say that like these are, they're quite bland, especially when we're comparing them to these beautiful guys up here. I'm never ever going to want to put them on my eye. It's just, it is what it is. Up here I have some more Glaminatrix shades. This one is Bunny. So I don't know if you can really see, but it has like a bluey green sort of hue to it. It is really pretty, but I wasn't really all that drawn to it. I have a minty green one here, which is called Hopping. That's from the Easter collection. You guys know I'm not into blue and green eyeshadows. They're not the most flattering shades for my skin tone, so I know I'm not going to reach for it, so why keep it? And this one here, this one's really nice. This was called, I think it's Sundown. The problem is it's got a really flaky formula. It's kind of like a translucent, it looks sort of like violetish, pinky violet there, but it does have a like yellowy gold shift to it as well. What I didn't like about it was the like flaky formula. I found it was really messy to apply, and I had kept a whole bunch of the Terra Moons eyeshadows that have like similar colors, similar finish, but I prefer the formula, so I opted to keep those guys over the Glaminatrix ones. I also have 3 here from Cleona. Now you guys can probably guess why I'm getting rid of them. blues and greens. That's the only reason. I know I'm never going to reach for them. So this one here is called Snowdrift, which is really pretty. I have Alpine, which is a really beautiful like foresty green, and then I have, I think it's oh, I don't know. Anyway, it's this one. They're really pretty shades, and look, I have to say I really like Cleona's formula. These are just like, I'm not going to wear them because of the colors. It's just like people who, you know, don't like brown eyeshadow, they think it's boring as fuck, or people who don't like, you know, oranges or reds or purples. You know, we all have our preferences, we all have shades that we like to wear and we know look good against our skin tones. For me, blues and greens just, they don't do it for me. So these are all of the eyeshadows that I had in my working palette over the last month that didn't make the cut. So to give you guys a little bit of an update, these are the eyeshadows that I've opted to keep so far. I'm hoping to leave this project with no more than like 2 working palettes. So, you know, one like this and then another one, and then have all the rest of the palettes be empty. So I'm kind of running out of space because this is what I've still got left to go through. So I have these guys here, which is not too much, a couple of eyeshadows, a couple of highlighters and some eyeshadows there. I have all of these guys here, again, highlighter and a whole bunch of eyeshadows. And then in my Inglot palettes, I have, one of them is completely empty, yay go me, and I actually had 4 of these to start with, and I've emptied out 2 technically, and I have this one here, and then this one here. So, I think the issue that I'm going to face is these eyeshadows are giant, and when they're put in these palettes, they take up a lot of space, so that might, you know, limit me with what I can keep, but I really don't want to keep more than 2 of these individual palettes. One more thing I want to do in this video is curate my palette for the next month and see if I can already, like, you know, empty out another palette. I'm thinking I should definitely be able to empty out that one, and I do want to see if I have a 301 shade in the full size in my Inglot palettes. So let me get to that and I'll show you what I end up with. I can't, guys. What is this day? What is this day? I just dropped my Inglot magnet, which I've had for like 50,000 years. Not really. I've had it, I don't know, maybe like 7 years. I broke it. Oh, I'm so annoyed. That's so annoying. There we go. I knew I had a 301 in there somewhere. This is 301. I am going to declutter this one because I don't need it in full size. Okay, guys, I'm actually very happy with what I've done here. I didn't make 1 palette. I made 3 that I can work with. So I have one here which consists of eyeshadows. I pulled out a bunch of my Inglot shades and put them in there. I did actually find I have a duplicate of another one of my Inglot shades. So this is 303 and I have 2 of them. So I'm getting rid of that one. I also found this eyeshadow from Makeup Geek. It's called Showtime. I just feel that this is going to be too dark for me. So I'm not going to keep it. It's also kind of a little bit boring. It's not a matte shade, it's kind of a satin. I would typically use this sort of eyeshadow over like sort of the midsection of my eyelid, and it's too dark. I won't use it. I also put together this one, which I think is going to be my most difficult. There's blues, greens, and some purple shades in there that I think are going to border on too dark for me, but I do want to test them out. Typically I would get rid of these sort of shades here, but they have very interesting textures and the way that they sit on the eyelid is interesting. I've also got some like blue browns down here which are really pretty and I typically love, so I am going to have a play with them before I just like write them off completely. And my last little like working palette is this one. This is Just Inglot Shades. This is, look, I think realistically, I think like I think these shimmery shades will go. They're exceptionally boring. Like I'm yawning. I mean, they are kind of pretty, but also the textures aren't exciting for me. These guys here are shades that I use to set my eye primer. So over time I will organically use them. That's fine. I think there's definitely going to be some mattes in here that I just can't part with. So I think my goal for the next month will be to work on this and decide exactly what I'm doing with all of the shades in there, and get through one of these palettes as well. Whichever one it is, I don't care as long as one of them is done. So my pile is definitely shrinking. This is what I'm currently working on. I have one palette that is not quite full of shades that I definitely want to keep, and I have 2 empty inglot cases. Fantastic. And I have 2 empty, like larger, you know, magnetic eyeshadow palettes. So these I'll just use to like transfer shades between, like stuff I want to get rid of, stuff I want to keep, and then, you know, it'll be easy for me to bring you guys results in my next update. I also have this guy, which is full of eyeshadows that I am going to declutter. So I'm really happy with how things are going at the moment. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap that up there because I feel like the longer I sit here, the more bad things happen to my eyeshadows. And maybe today was just not the day to film it, but also I'm glad that I've done it because I really, really, really wanted to just create the new palette that I can play with. I hope you guys enjoyed this little update. If you are currently working on any of your eyeshadows, let me know how you're going with your project. Are you feeling good about it? Are you feeling a bit stressed? I totally get how that can feel. Let me know, brain dump in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.